Everyone, welcome to a special bonus episode of Locked On Lakers. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky. The Lakers come alive late in Phoenix. They come back to beat the Suns, and you'll never guess who helped lead the comeback. That's next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers your first listen of every day, Monday through Friday, no matter how or where you get your podcasts. And obviously, Andy, also on Saturdays sometimes. This is where you're going to go. It's never going to be behind a paywall. It's always going to be fresh and accessible to you. Locked On Lakers on YouTube, over 21,000 subscribers. Finally, exhaling, Andy, with a little bit of excitement. It was 122 to 119 was the final score Friday night in Phoenix. The Lakers with a big comeback for the second time this season against the Suns. And as frequent tweeter to us, Get Buckets said, they don't call him in-season tournament Cam for nothing. Cam Reddish was an unlikely star of this comeback. The Lakers actually got a lot of, when it was all said and done, got a lot of good performances. LeBron James was great Friday and kept them afloat long enough for this comeback to mean something. Got contributions from Austin Reaves, who came off the bench, which we'll get into before the end of this one. But, I mean, I think the headline here in terms of big surprises, 5 3-pointers from Cam Reddish, which is 3 more than he had in the first 8 games this season. Cam Reddish, starting in place of Austin Reaves, came alive late. Wow.
Yeah. You know what? I would actually say he didn't even entirely come alive late, although the late is what you might
from a shooting standpoint is really what
from a shooting standpoint. But
defensively, though, he was engaged the entire game.
Right. He finished the game with 17 points, 5 of 8 from behind the arc, 3 steals. You know, he had a tough defensive assignment in this game, often up against KD. And, you know, I'd mentioned, I believe it was after the Clippers win, where he spent a lot of time guarding both Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. And, you know, those guys got theirs, but Reddish made them work. You know, I theorized that I feel like Reddish, who has been inconsistent, frankly, for his entire career, but inconsistent defensively, to put it generously. It feels to me, based off what we've seen, because he had some good moments against Durant in the first go-around against Phoenix. I feel like Reddish is just at his best defensively, maybe just his most dialed in, whatever, when he's up against a premier wing. And it felt like Reddish was in for a big game, literally from the opening tip, which he stole away from Phoenix. And then he had the first of his 5 threes in the opening 90 seconds. He was just terrific in this game. I mean, like, I was wondering if this is not the best game Cam Reddish has had in his career, this is got to be a top 5 across. I mean, as far as games with actual implications on a team trying to go somewhere, I'm not an expert on his career, but this feels as big as anything he's done.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is one of those things where, like, these types of games have popped up over the course of his career where, like, and this is why teams keep kind of getting, you know, Reddish curious and why the Lakers
Reddish fetish, as you put it,
why they are, you know, constantly the Lakers have been tied to him. And I mean, I get what you're saying about sort of elite players. I think it has more to do with, Darvin said after the game, he's called him an elite defender. He's called it, and he put the qualifier in it after Friday night's game where he said he is an elite individual defender.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that's true or not true, but I will say this, after watching now 9 games of Cam Reddish in a Lakers uniform, I think where he's best is in assignments where it is as drilled down to go guard that guy without having to worry about broader team schemes as you can get in the NBA. You're never fully clear of that because there are screens and switches and this and that and whatever. But the assignments that he's had where he's thrived the most are the ones where it is as close to that as I think you get. And then some of the, whether it's the athleticism or
the
length or
size,
whatever it might be, can come in handy, and some of the shortcomings aren't as relevant. But regardless of what it is, did a great job on Durant, and then finally, was part of a Lakers attack that was for what, 2.5, almost 3/4 looked very much like some of the lesser efforts they've had over the terrible on the offensive glass, terrible for the first 3/4, and getting pounded. They were down, I think you said, as we were setting up, 17-4 in second chance points at one point at the end of the third.
I believe it was roughly after 3/4. They were down 17-4. Like Phoenix had over quadruple their second chance points, combined with their inability to make any outside shots for 2.5 quarters. That is a difficult recipe.
And Phoenix, it wasn't like Phoenix was sending 4 guys to the glass. It was sometimes there was just 1, maybe 2. And it was like, it's like when in an NFL game, when teams get pressure on the quarterback, just rushing, their front 3 or front 4 and not even having to blitz. Like Phoenix wasn't doing anything to get on the glass and slow the Lakers down and punish them that way. The Lakers just couldn't/weren't rebounding.
They have this infuriating thing, this team. Like sometimes I think they get bodied, they get boxed out, they don't do a good enough job boxing out themselves. Like they're a bunch of different, for lack of a better way of putting it, technical things, strategic things.
Yeah, there were a lot of times on Friday where they felt like if they just put their arms out, side to their side, that meant nobody on Phoenix was allowed to go get the ball. It was just really bad effort.
But sometimes it is not the effort. It's like the ball, every time someone from Phoenix shoots it, it automatically becomes greased and they cannot hang on to the ball. Like there was at least 10 times in this game where they got to a 50-50 ball and just let it go out of their hands. Like they just dropped it or it got poked out and it's been this way all season.
Once the shots, and anybody who's ever played sports knows, at any level, when you can't score, when it is difficult to, the energy gets sucked out of the building, and they just couldn't get shots to fall, and it started to affect the vibes, if nothing else. Like you just that energy, that positive thing that you get when things are going well, that extra hop in your step or whatever. They made 6 3-pointers in a row. They went from not being able to hit anything to making 6 in a row. All of a sudden, Andy, it's looking good. And it was spread around too. I mean, the contributions, Reddish was there. Rui Hachimura had big threes.
The opening 4 minutes or so, 4 or 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, Rui was massive, like on both
huge.
Sides of the ball.
And, Austin Reaves was hitting shots, as the game went along, and he played a nice game. It's just, once the lid came off the rim, suddenly the Lakers looked like they did in the preseason again, where, the ball was moving. There was the extra pass was there. And, it's amazing what a little bit of success can do. And they came back, and I kind of stumbled on Friday's show, lost track of their 1-loss record, and already made them 3-6, having lost this game. There's a huge difference between 3-6 and 4-5. Now tied, by the way, with Phoenix and having beaten them twice. This was a big game, both mentally but also logistically for them. Huge comeback.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, now they're moving towards any type of tiebreaker implications against the Suns. Later in the season, we may remember these games as crucially important. It was really big in this game, the way you mentioned. There were so many contributions across the board. Like, D'Angelo Russell, I thought it was very third quarter. He had some really big plays, playmaking and also scoring, but he also had pretty bad fouls. And I thought Darvin made a very good move not closing with him down the stretch. He was alternating between Cam and Austin and Torian as sort of the guys rotating in and out with LeBron and AD, but also, the contributions that you got across the board from everybody really matter.
Russell, by the way, in addition to the third quarter production, he had 10 in the first, I believe, and he finished with 19 and 9. So, we got to the line, shot 9 free throws. So, I mean, he had a lot of positive contributions to make, but then, was doing what you want to see, up off the bench, cheering and all that kind of stuff. Like, he played 28 minutes, almost 29 in this game. Like, this is what you want. Like, everybody's going to have, not everybody can close. You can only use 5 guys, but everybody was involved and doing something at some point of this game.
But it was really important too, though, because, Anthony Davis, along with Jackson Hayes, were both available for this game.
Mm-hmm.
And it took AD about 2.5 quarters to really look like himself. I have to assume / in a weird way, kind of hope that he was not 100%, but just really felt it was important to play in this game. He got better. He got better in the second half. He was much better for about the last, 16 minutes of this game.
2 of 7 in the first half. He finished 5 of 14, but 18 points, 11 rebounds, and a lot of of his 8 free throws came in the second half.
And they were big too, because other than AD, the rest of the team struggled at the line. They were not nearly as good as they needed to be. But, we've talked before about the importance of AD being the best player on this team on a consistent basis, and that still holds. But, all superstars every now and then need the rest of the team to carry them occasionally. And this was a night where a lot of different guys stepped up. Austin Reaves, I tweeted before the game at Cam Brothers, I liked that Darvin made this move. I said, I don't know if moving Austin to the bench is definitively the answer, but they've needed to do something.
Well, maybe while they're short the guys that they're short, it might be one of the It may not. They may not need to do it when Vanderbilt is. I am pretty sure now when Vanderbilt is available, he's going to start and Prince will go to the bench.
I certainly hope Vanderbilt starts. Whether Prince goes to the bench or stays in that role,
you keep Reaves coming off the bench,
right? But Vando, damn right, he needs to be starting once he's back. But I've mentioned a few times. There was that one YouTube comment we had after game 1 about the possibility of separating Reaves and D'Lo, and I've mentioned a few times over these 9 games that I've been wondering if the team was really benefiting with the two of them together in that unit until the two of them start contributing more offensively, like on a regular basis. Defensively, they're too vulnerable. Especially with Vando not there.
Right. We've seen that it's not that it can't work, because we saw it last year that it absolutely could, but it's the configuration and then the bench combinations. Darvin noted that Reaves is going to finish games, and he did. He played 35 minutes. It is really genuinely a changing of the order in which players play.
But that can matter,
and it doesn't matter at all. But
it can matter in terms of the overall
right. But I mean, it doesn't matter in terms of he got demoted. It's not a demotion. It's not like when a guy comes out and plays 35 minutes. He's essentially still a starter. It's like in baseball, the opener now. You're just using your players in a different order. We'll see what happens when guys are available, but that's a moot point for the next few games, to say the least. Before we go, we haven't gotten that far. LeBron was fantastic. A couple defensive lapses here and there, but 32 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, and a block, 11 of 17 from the floor, 3 of 4 from 3-point range. He is the primary reason, I think, the only player who was good for 4 quarters, basically. of that. I
I
think
thought he was a little. I'll be honest. I thought LeBron was a little wild passing.
he
for some of
was.
this
There,
game.
there were turnovers. It wasn't a perfect, but like broadly, I think he
Look,
was the guy
They
who
needed
was
him. They
right. Who
he
was
stepped up like a superstar. I
Right.
don't disagree.
and he was pretty good early. There were a couple of bad turnovers. There was one, that really a couple that were real eye rollers. But overall, those numbers, rather than being just backloaded like most of the team, actually had some there at the beginning as well. Really great effort, and he was moving the ball to Cam Reddish at the end of the game, and made a note afterwards. That for all those people who, and he said this in the ESPN postgame interview, for all those people who criticized him for making that play the other night to Reddish to try to win the game, and were criticizing him for it. That's why he did it. He went back to him because he has confidence in his guys. LeBron James hears and remembers everything. So, but
you know what,
there
though?
is some truth to it. Like that is
I-
part of why you give guys the opportunity to shoot, is so that if they miss, they can feel more comfortable for the next one. And would he have missed if he didn't take the shot against Miami? I don't know. But the point is, all that stuff over the course of a season does actually make a difference. So LeBron, hyper aware of what we're talking about here.
Well, look, man, he has the right to throw that back in everybody's face because, frankly, the criticism over it was really effing dumb.
Really stupid. I mean,
it was
LeBron probably would have had his shot blocked, and Cam Reddish was standing alone in the corner.
Right.
And that pass need to be. The argument wasn't should you pass the ball to that guy, is should Reddish have moved it to Prince? Should somebody else have been standing in the corner other than Reddish? But it's not should LeBron have passed the ball. The answer
if somebody else had been standing in the corner, that guy would have been guarded, and Cam Reddish would have been open
wherever he was
somewhere
standing.
else.
Yes.
As we went through at the time, the problem with that whole sequence, if you were upset with LeBron or Reddish, you should have been mad at D'Angelo Russell for getting ejected. Also from LeBron, said afterwards with Lisa Salters of ESPN, it was great because it was an in-season tournament win. We'll take that for sure. $500,000 on the line. So we're going for that. So you know what?
Yeah.
Even LeBron James, billionaire, not above an extra
$500,000. $500,000. I think they're all having a little fun with it, but it's like, and your daughter liked Phoenix's court. Like, so it just shows the young people are into what the NBA is doing.
My daughter said, quote, "That court is nice."
It takes a second. That one didn't bother me as much. I've seen the pictures of the Houston one, which the Houston one's too bright. Turn that thing
Bulls
down.
court looks like it was painted in red Kool-Aid.
Right. It's like they're playing basketball. The Houston and the Bulls are using the same paint color.
It was like a nuclear holocaust happened, and then it all got sucked into the court. Like that red got sucked. It's
like the eighth circle of hell.
Yes,
it's very bright. That's
very too much.
It's very vivid, very vivid. But anyway, Phoenix was a nice, kind of a lovely shade of purple. The Lakers, I believe, their gigantic color is Lakers gold. So good to go there. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where you can go to see the show, hang out with over 21,000 subscribers, all of whom are very excited. We will see everybody for Sunday after Sunday's game, but Andy, not before we tell you about Prize Picks. It's the largest daily fantasy DFS, daily fantasy sports, that's DFS platform in North America. You against numbers. So instead of battling thousands and thousands of other players, and including pros and sharks, you're just picking more than or less than 2 to 6 player stat projections, and then you just watch the winnings kind of roll in. In basketball season, it's in full swing. You can pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specials League. That's a league created specifically for combo projections that includes 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. For example, LeBron James and Travis Kelce at a 10.5 combo of 3-pointers made and receptions. Prize Picks offers a reboot policy so that your entries stay fresh and in play, even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and doesn't return in the second, that player is rebooted. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. PrizePicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Use the code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, PrizePicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Use the code LockedOnNBA. First deposit match up to $500. Prize Picks is daily fantasy sports made easy.
Locked On Lakers is also brought to you by Jace Medical, and we spent a lot of time with you, our Locked On Lakers audience, celebrating wins like tonight, lamenting the losses, just building a connection with an audience that we really appreciate. We love being able to do that for you, remove some of the stress of your daily lives, but also we can offer you some advice for real life stress. And whether you're on an extended travel, bracing for some type of natural disaster, or limited by yet another supply shortage, you have to be able to expect the unexpected and be covered. And thanks to our friends at Jace Medical, life-saving antibiotics and a long list of daily medications can be ordered in a 1-year supply. Even ED generics like Cialis, Viagra, Revatio prescriptions, all available. Jace Medical also allows you to customize your Jace case with dozens of add-on medications for your family needs. So go online right now at jacemedical.com. Receive your 12-month supply on your daily medication. And remember, use that promo code Locked On at the checkout for a $20 discount as well. Again, JASEmedical.com.
All right. We'll see everybody on Monday.